Welcome back to another interesting day. The markets are waiting for the next move. Right now, oil is elevated, but it's not breaking higher yet. Stocks are holding, but they're not reacting aggressively yet either. So this just shows us that we're in a holding pattern. We're waiting either for a peace deal or a ground war. And while we wait, nothing is slowing down. The buildup continues. We're seeing continued movement of U.S. forces into the region. The U.S. already has roughly 50,000 troops in place, and that number is now increasing. The 82nd Airborne has deployed. The Marine units are arriving. Additional forces are being positioned. And this is no longer just positioning. This is definitely preparation for a major ground campaign. And we're not the only ones either. We see and hear troop movements throughout the region on both sides. So while we wait, Iran is trying to prove to the world that it has full control of its own country and territory, and that it still has the ability to project power across the region. They need to show the world that they still have control and expect their minions to comply. It's extremely important for their credibility, of course, and if there's a crack in their ability to maintain that extended power, it changes the power dynamics of the entire region. Because what happens here will influence Israel's next moves, and not just because within Iran, but what they do across the region also with Lebanon, Gaza, the West Bank, Syria, all of it's connected. Now, this is something that just happened today that really has, it seems like it's a small deal, but it's really, really a big deal. What you had today was you had a fight is brewing now between Lebanon and Iran. And Lebanon today expelled Iran's ambassador from the country. And Iran, the ambassador, and of course the country, told Lebanon, screw you, we're not going anywhere. And the ambassador is still sitting in Beirut, not going anywhere. And that's a big challenge to Lebanon's power. So the question now is, this is a real power fight between Lebanon and Iran, but it really is important for Iran for its whole, as I just mentioned, the regional power, because if they lose this and they lose control of Lebanon, it's going to change the whole dynamic, and it's going to show just how weak they are. On the other hand, Israel is in there helping get rid of Hezbollah, and they've been going in heavy and hard the last couple of days. And I expect that you're going to see even more of that over the next couple of days, making it harder and getting this ambassador out of there. So let's see what happens. But right now, as I said, they're refusing to comply. And that's certainly not diplomacy at all. We have a big power struggle going on. And how this plays out now has huge consequences for both countries, yes, but it has bigger consequences for the entire region and the war. Because if Iran's regional power starts to fracture, this expands very quickly into their regional power on all their other areas. And at the same time, we're seeing movement now from the Houthis. They hadn't been bothered in this whole thing. They'd been laying low and staying out of it. And now they have come into the fray, and they've decided that they might block off the Red Sea again, as they did last summer. So this is all going to directly impact global shipping, compounding the problems from the Straits of Hormuz, which feeds right back into energy and oil. So it's not a side issue. This really affects the world economy at this point. Meanwhile, talks are supposedly underway for real, with Pakistan facilitating them. Trump even came out with a comment today saying that they're in talks with a much more lenient and reasonable Iranian group. But that's BS. That's just Trump talking to try to get credibility for if he ends up doing something. We know that these mullahs and these guys are just as hardline, if not more so, than the ones that were killed. So the deadline now that Trump gave is now sitting at April 6th, which is still about a week away. And I very much doubt we'll see another extension of Trump's deadline unless the talks are literally on the verge of peace deal. So we need to step back and look at this clearly. The markets are waiting. Oil is holding. Talks are uncertain, but happening. Troops are increasing. Regional pressure is expanding. What we see is a buildup, certainly not stability. And when you combine all that with oil and stock risks that already have stress underneath it, the downside risk becomes much greater than the upside. And while we're in this waiting phase, this is the perfect moment for you to take advantage to reevaluate the risk of exposure you have, not because something has already happened, but because what could happen next. In a high risk environment like this, it's always worth taking a closer look at your portfolio and your risk exposure. I don't get anything from this. I am simply trying to sound the alarm because this is the conversation you should be having with your financial advisor right now while we have this window. Because if this does move into a ground phase, this is going to move very quickly. Oil will move significantly higher and the markets will react, and not in a small way. And depending on how large the move is that oil does, it could take a very long time for the markets to fully recover. And I'm not talking months, I'm talking even years. So that's not even a prediction. It's just my personal view based on over 30 years in the business, managing money through multiple cycles and major events. I find too many people are way too complacent when it comes to their money, even in times like this, when we're on the verge of something big, good or bad, but something big. And if we have peace, that's fantastic. But if we don't, and people are just too complacent when it comes to these times. And I suggest that you use this window before anything happens. So for now, we wait, we watch oil, we watch the headlines, and we watch for the moments this shifts from positioning to action. Today, you also had Trump put out another threat to try to push the talks even more here. And the headline from this was Trump threatens to obliterate Iran's energy sources. I don't know how serious he is about that, but here we'll take a quick listen.
We've had very good negotiations today with Iran, getting a lot of the things that they should have given us a long time ago. They've been very reasonable. So I think we've had regime change. I mean, you can't do much better than that. The regime that was really bad, really evil was the first one. That was done. The second was appointed, and they're gone. They're all dead, other than one who may have a little life. And then there really are the third group, and the third group of people that seem to be much more reasonable. It truly is regime change.
It's not regime change. That's a bunch of bullshit. And he knows it. And there's even a question about whether the mullahs are even in charge or if the military is in charge altogether right now. And we just don't know. I mean, that's just the bottom line is we don't know who's running Iran at this point. So, and whoever is in there now, believe me, they're more hardline than anybody that was killed. So this is just a bunch of bullshit. So anyway, now we wait, we watch the oil, we watch the headlines, and we just wait for this to happen. Once it happens, it's going to move very quickly, whether something happens this week or we wait until the 6th, but something's going to happen and happen quickly. And somehow I just don't have a feeling in my own personal opinion that they're going to come to a deal. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe this video, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you.